Well, as we saw in a previous video, the field of affective computing, mainly used by social robots, is concerned with the detection and understanding of human emotions, and also with the expression of human-like emotions by the robot. Um, as we saw, we need, on the one hand, sensors just to capture the physical external manifestations of that emotions, and some processing, some intelligent processing to understand the emotions that lay behind that manifestations. In this video, we'll review briefly the kind of sensors that are used in affective computing. Our main focus is the type of sensors that can be used maintaining social distance between the human and the robot. That is, that the robot does not need to touch the human. We have, for example, visual sensors. The most common ones are just cameras. The simpler of these cameras are RGB cameras, and with cameras we can get information about facial expression, body language, gaze, gestures, and the like. I've mentioned RGB cameras, but there are also more sophisticated ones like 3D cameras, such as, for example, Microsoft Kinect. And there are also special type of cameras for measuring different things. For example, we have thermal cameras. With thermal cameras, the robot can measure variations in the skin temperature. And that variations may be the signal of things like stress or anxiety. There are also eye-tracking cameras, and with that eye-tracking cameras, you get information about the eyes, things like pupil dilatations, gaze directions, or blinking patterns, which could be signals for things like cognitive load or other type of emotions. And we can also use, or the robots can also use photoplatismography. In photoplatismography, the sensor emits sunlight using usually LEDs and has the capacity of photo detection. And with photoplatismography, the information the robot gets is the oxygen saturation in blood. And the oxygen saturation in blood is related with the heartbeat, and so in turn is relating with emotions such as stress, engagement, and others. To get information about sounds, we use, or the robot uses, simply microphones. With microphones, we capture speech and also vocal cues such as pitch, tone, speed, which conveys information about emotion. And these are probably not the only ones, but the main sensors used by social robots for the sake of affective computing. But in other applications of affective computing, there are other useful sensors. For example, we can use electroencephalography. With electroencephalography, the sensors get information about the electromagnetic waves emitted by our brain. And it's very common for using in neurotechnology applications on brain-computer interface. Robots don't usually use this kind of sensors because we need kind of a helmet on the head of the human, so it's not good for, say, a social robot. We have also, for example, electromyography. With electromyography, we can detect a muscular activity even in the muscles of the face, so it has a relation with gestures and in turn with emotions. And we can also measure electrodermal activity via skin conductance. And skin conductance is related to arousal levels. But again, we need an electrode, so it's not used commonly by social robots. And there are much more technologies and type of sensors, but I think you get the idea. The thing is that there are a good variety of sensors that can measure and detect the physical external manifestations of emotions. So we have something to work with, and the next step is processing all that information to understand the emotions that lay behind that manifestations. But about that processing, we will speak in a future video.